If you're a federal employee and you're worried about getting illegally fired or being subject to a RIF, here's a checklist for things you should be doing right now. I'm a former federal lawyer, and this is a helpful list of things that you can do to get ready right now to leave government, whether you want to or not. Normally you would have a lot of time, but we live in crazy times and people at USAID only had 15 minutes to clear out their office, and you don't want to be caught like them. So these are things you should be doing today to get ready. I will include a link to this list at the end of the video. So number one, start bringing home personal effects. Your family photos, your diplomas, don't rely on them to mail it back to you. When you're there, you're a guest. When you're gone, you're a pest. And relying them to do the right thing when they're firing people and claiming it's performance related and violating every protection that we've had as federal employees for decades, it's not going to bode well for you if you're relying on the kindness of these strangers. So yeah, start taking home your stuff, even if it's, one or two things a day. Whenever you go in, start bringing them home. Now, you're going to need to schedule your leave and your comp time and your time off awards if you're leaving voluntarily. So annual leave, if you separate, you're going to get paid that. It's owed to you. Comp time, you will get paid also. I did a video prior and I said comp time was not paid, but I was confusing comp time with time off awards. So annual leave, you will get paid. Comp time, you will get paid. Annual leave, there's a certain amount that's use or lose per year, and comp time, you have to use it within 1 year of being issued comp time, but you will get paid for it when you leave. Time off awards do not get paid. So if you need to take a day off and you're wondering if you should take annual leave or comp time or time off award, take your time off awards. You will get zero if you have time off awards and you get fired or riffed. You won't get paid for that. Ditto with sick leave. If you're going to take a day off, maybe you're feeling sick that day. I'll just say that. So sick leave is forfeited. You won't get paid any cash if you leave for sick leave. The only time sick leave are going to come in handy for you is if you are about ready to retire and you have a lot of sick leave. The sick leave may be used to increase your time in service calculation, and you get paid for complete years. So if you were there for 20 years and something, and then the sick leave will take you to 21, that's great. But 21 and a half is useless. 21 and 3/4 is useless. It's only full years that you get paid for in terms of your high three. If you plan on going back to the government and you have sick time, that sick leave will be restored. Even if you're going to a different agency, you will be restored. But as I said, if you are not planning on coming back, you're just leaving government, you won't get paid your sick leave when you leave. Next thing you should do is download all your SF50s. First and last, but get them all to be safe. Those contain your pay grade, your title, your bonuses, etc. So if you're looking for a new job and people want to know what you did and how you performed, that's one of the things you can do to show them that. And it's also going to be helpful if you're claiming unemployment, because if you're involuntarily separated, they have been trying to get around the protections that are available to fellow employees by firing people and claiming it's performance related, even though they had stellar performance reviews. So keeping your SF50s and your performance evaluations are going to help overcome that. Your entire EOPF file. So when you log on to EOPF, you can click around and do things on your computer, and you don't necessarily have to print things out one at a time. There's a way to do it, and I don't have access to the system anymore because I retired, but you can download everything on it, and it will give you everything in a PDF file that's encrypted that you can open and see how you want it. Now when you do that, it's going to give you a secret password that it generates. You can't pick the password. It's going to pick a password for you. I won't show you mine for obvious reasons, but make sure you keep that password because it's going to generate a PDF for you that you can email to yourself, and with that password is the only way you're going to be able to open that. From your EOPF files, either through that PDF or printing them out one at a time, you should get your leave and earning statements, your latest performance appraisal for the reasons I said before. If you're looking for another job or if they fire you and claim it's performance related, you're going to need that. Your leave and earning statements you're going to need to make sure you get paid out properly for your comp time, for your leave time, and things like that. So I am currently getting checks from OPM, and they are about half what they should be, and I'm in the process of straightening that out. But don't count on them to be doing your work for you, because they're going to be short-staffed there. There's going to be thousands more people applying now, and you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So have as many things to bolster your case as possible to help you. So your latest performance appraisal, as I said, that's going to help you claim unemployment. It's going to help you get another job. But your entire EOPF file, you should be able to download as a PDF and email to yourself, and it will generate a password for you that's random. You can't pick it. Make sure you keep that in a safe place, because that is what you're going to need to access that. So also from your EOPF file, you can get your W-2s, and you want proof of health insurance coverage. So if you want to return to federal service, and you had a VHB for 5 years, that helps. And if you are taking a VERA, voluntary early retirement, and you want to keep your health insurance in retirement, you're going to need to prove that for the prior 5 years you had continuous coverage. So I left and I had health insurance through the federal government, not through my spouse. And because I had that for 5 years before I left on VERA, I can keep it now when I'm in retirement. And generally that goes if you're 62 or 57, which is the MRA. But if you are taking a VERA, you can take it as early as 50, but you will need to have had the FEHB for 5 years continuously prior to that. So make sure you have proof of that. Next thing is something you probably don't think about, but your email and phone. So on TSP and other websites, I had it through my work email because I always forget my password, and it's just easier to send a recovery email through there. And because I can't send it to my personal email, because you can't access personal email on your government computer. However, TSP.gov and Employee Express or MyPay.gov, you're going to need to access that when you leave government. So make sure you have that switched over to your personal email so that you can get that when you leave, because you won't have access to your government email and you won't be able to change it once you leave. So make sure you change it before you leave. Also, on those websites, some of them have a two-factor authorization where it sends you a number to your phone and then you enter that number in. Make sure you change that from your work phone to your personal phone. So get that done before you leave, because you won't be able to do it after. And another thing is phone number and contacts for people you work with. HR, if you have a problem like I'm having now because they're giving me the wrong amount, I'm going to need to contact our HR person, who's spectacular. But you also want to get numbers of your direct supervisors, your direct reports if you're in management, and your references. Because if you are trying to find another job, if you're trying to claim unemployment, anything like that, you're going to need these names and numbers, and you don't want to be scrambling trying to put them together. Just get them before you leave when it's easier. The next thing is health insurance. So as I said, some people will be able to continue health insurance when you leave and some people won't. So think about that. If you leave, are you going to get TCC, temporary continuation of coverage? If so, find out how much it's going to cost you. If you don't want to do that, or it's not available to you, how about Affordable Care Act? You need to compare prices on that and coverage on that. Some of you will be able to get coverage through your spouse. Find out what that costs. And compare these options and decide on which one you're going to pick before you leave, because their insurance has, just like ours and everyone else's, has a period of enrollment. And generally you can't enroll after that period is gone unless there is a change of circumstances, and that's usually something like getting married, having a baby, or losing your job. So you will, if you're switching insurance or getting on your spouse's insurance, be able to use that window, but you have to decide which one you're going to pick before, so you're not scrambling. Next thing is decide if you want a refund of your FERS contribution. You probably don't want that if you're on regular FERS, but you might want it if you're on FERS FRAE, and because that's for people that started after a certain date, and it's a different contribution amount. And this does not say on here, but I will throw this in and I'll add another bullet. If you are worried about losing your job and things are going to be tight when you leave, what you should do is alter your FERS contribution now. Well, that's what I would do. I'm not giving you advice. I don't give advice, but if I was in your shoes, this is what I would do. So you do get a company match or a government match up to, I believe it's 5%. And many of you are contributing the max, which I think it's $28,000 a year. And if you can contribute the match in normal times, that's a great thing to do and it's smart. But if you're worried about losing your job, I would cut that back to 5%, which is the amount that's going to get you the one-to-one match. And with the rest of that money, either contribute to the Roth 401k, which you can get through the government thing, or just sock that away in your bank account so you have a cushion, you have a buffer when you leave. And with 401k contributions, you can't pull those out till you're 59 and a half unless you're fired. And there's certain circumstances you can pull it out when you're 55, but we won't go into that. But normally it's 59 and a half. And if you pull it out, not only you're taxed on it, but there's a 10% penalty. So you don't want that penalty. So you do want the 100% match. So I would reduce that to the 100% match. And then the rest of it, if you want to contribute, you contribute to the Roth 401k, because Roth contributions are not taxed, but you don't get a tax deduction for Roth contributions, but you can pull them out if it's your contribution, not any amount that it went up. So that's a way to access your cash if you're going to need a cash buffer when you leave. And the other option is just to reduce it to 5% and then just sock the rest in your checking account. So you'll have a nice cash buffer when you leave, because you don't know when these funds from your leave that they owe you, or a VSIP or a VERA, is going to hit your account, and if it will be calculated correctly. So you want to have as much of a cushion as possible. The last thing you should do is understand the ethics rules about post-government employment. Depending on what your title was, you might have a 1-year or 2-year prohibition, and your HR person in normal times would be able to explain your ethics person what's okay and what's not okay. But there are so many thousands of people being let go with no notice that you might not be getting the correct information because they don't have time to give it to you. So generally I was told I can work on anything that I hadn't worked on while I was inside. So, I used to represent the government against different banks. So if I was reviewing the financial filings for Bank of America, I can't review that specific filing because I worked on it. But if they need to produce new filings, I can work on those. And I have a 1-year prohibition, so I can't contact anyone at my agency or submit things with my name for 1 year. But after that, I'm good. But yeah, have an understanding of what your role is and how those ethics rules would affect you post-government, because even though the people in DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and I refuse to pronounce it DOGE, the G is a G sound, so I'll pronounce it doggy. And if you insist on calling it DOGE, I will insist on pronouncing it douche, because it's named after Elon. So the people in douche are breaking the rules right and left, but that doesn't mean that they won't prosecute you for breaking the rules. So make sure you know what the rules are and that you follow them, because you never want to be caught on the wrong side of that. Other things, this is not in the original checklist, but I'll add it here. If you're at an agency with a collective bargaining arrangement, keep in contact with your union, because you might have more rights than other federal employees. And also people at the union might have information that is not on the news, and maybe closer to the action, and have things that they can tell you that might be helpful. If you are not covered by a collective bargaining agreement and you are in a agency that's been targeted, like the DOJ, where they've been going after lawyers who worked on January 6 cases and did nothing wrong, but they just want them all fired, it might be worth your time to hire a employment law firm just for an hour or two and tell them your situation and get their advice on how to proceed. So lawyers aren't cheap, and but if you feel that you are in a special position, because it's not just your agency that's going a RIF, but it's you specifically that's being targeted, this might be money well spent. And I'm not going to name a specific law firm or anything like that. I still have a law license, and if I put a law firm, I could get a commission, I could get a referral. It's perfectly fine, it's perfectly ethical, but I refuse to do that because I don't want them charging you more and then giving me a kickback. I just want to put this info out there to help you. I don't really need the money right now. So yeah, definitely find a lawyer for an hour or two. It'll be helpful. And be sure you find a firm that specializes in federal employees, because there's lots of employment lawyers out there, and they'll take your money, but federal practice is very specialized, and there's lots of firms that do just that, and you want one of those firms. Okay, if you don't want to pay for a couple of hours for a lawyer, here's a couple of good books I recommend. Let me pull them up here. This one's put out by FedWeek. It's only $18 and it's 250 pages. I got a copy of this when I started at the federal government, but mine was not 2025. Obviously, it was 2002 or 2003. I don't remember. It's a pretty good resource. It's not very detailed, but it'll give you the basics. If you want something more detailed, where is this? I recommended this in the last video. It's 680 pages. It's very thorough. It was $70, but looks like it's out of stock. So too many of you are ordering it. And if you want to wait for it, that's fine. If not, I would start with the other one. That's $20. So this one came out in 2014, and it is the third edition. And if you don't want to wait for it to be back in stock, they have the second edition, which I'll put a link to. And this one's only $15. So, and it's also 616 pages, and this came out in 2004. So from 2004 to 2014, I don't know how many things changed, but I'm sure a lot of it stayed the same. So if you want to check this out as well, I'll leave a link there. Back to this. Other helpful things. So I mentioned I'm not a employment lawyer, and I haven't seen people putting out good information on this that helps federal employees. And the exception to that is FedSmith, which I read when I was still working at the government, and I think they've been doing a really good job keeping up with all the craziness. They have a website and they have a YouTube channel, and they've been putting out great videos, sometimes more than one a day. So I wish there were more channels like this, but my hat's off to them. They've been doing a great job. And these other two, FedScoop and Federal Newsweek, are more news about the government and agencies, but not necessarily targeted to federal workers. But if you want a website or a channel that's pretty helpful and is up to date with stuff, I would check out FedSmith. So FedSmith, and there's those books. And I got some complaints when I put the previous video that people couldn't screen capture this and they wanted a copy of the document. And I did not have a document to provide because it was on my computer. I didn't have a copy to provide because it was on my computer, not online. But even though I'm not tech savvy, I found a way to put this in my Google Drive, and I will put a link in the description, and then you can download this and do as you wish. The copy that you see will not allow you to make changes to the main document, but you can make comments on it. And what's the difference? So if you make changes to it, the copy that everyone gets will be different. But if you make comments on it, the only one who will see the comments is me. And if you have any corrections or suggestions or things that might be helpful, you can put the comments on it. I will see that, and I can change this to make it better based on your suggestions. So we're all in this together, and we can help each other out. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I did the first video, and it got a lot of reviews. The two comments, though, were that they wanted a copy of this document, which I'm going to put in the pinned comment after I post this. And the other thing was people had some specific questions, which I tried to answer in this one. And I also corrected a few things about, annual leave and if it's restored. And I sort of, in the first one, I confused time off awards with comp time, and I've corrected that in this email. So if you found this helpful, just like and subscribe, and you can forward the video to somebody who might find it helpful, or you can just access this PDF document, which I'm going to put a link to from my Google Drive in the pinned comment, and then share that with anyone you think it's helpful. And if there's anything that you want to correct on here or things that you can suggest to improve it, just add that, and then I will add it to the main document, and it'll get better and better. So anyway, thank you for your government service. I worked in the government for 22 years. I had great coworkers, and I loved it. And I'm watching with shock at how you people are being treated and the things people are saying about you. And I know it's not true. Anais Nin said that we see people not as they are, but as we are. So these people that are hating on you and saying that government workers are lazy and stupid, that's not because of you, that's because of them. So that's how they see the world, because that's how they are, and they think that if they were in this position, they would be lazy and they would do no work and they would steal. So that's more a reflection on them than it is on you. You're doing important work. you're dedicated to government service and you're helping the American people, unlike these grifters who are trying to tear it down. This crazy billionaire who runs around on stage with a chainsaw, high on ketamine, and with 14 baby mamas and kids all over. And these racist kids, one is Big Balls, and the two other people who post racist stuff online, but they're still collecting your salary and cutting your jobs. It's crazy times we live in, but you're fighting the good fight. And I would say, you leave on your terms and you leave when it's good for you, and you can resist them every step of the way. And I will also say that I won't judge you if you have to decide what's best for you and your family. If you want to stay and fight, stay and fight. If you want to leave and do something better, leave and do something better. But do it on your terms. Don't give these people what they want. Do everything you can to thwart their evil intent, because you are the heroes here. So anyway, have a good day. I'll try to post more videos, and I look forward to you people downloading this document and making comments on it so I can improve it. Anyway, if you're in a position to help anyone else in the government, somebody has a question, somebody needs your help with something, we're in this together. Try to stick together, try to help each other. That's the way we'll win, by sticking together, by not letting them tear us apart. All right, have a great day, everyone.